So today we're going to be doing something tiny bit different, where we're going to be doing the aluminum ball challenge. Now that has been going around the internet. People really like it for some reason, where you take a lot of aluminum foil, press it down to a ball with a hammer, and then you polish it to make it shiny. And so we're going to do that today. So stick around for that, and here we go. Now it's 3:42, and me and my driver here are heading to the store to get the aluminum. Just saw I got the aluminum foil, 150 feet. I know it's not what everybody else uses, but I'm on a budget for $7, which is good, because that's all I had. I was gonna do the challenge outside, but from the looks of it, it's gonna rain, and the dog's licking my hand. So I guess I'll have to do it somewhere else. Because I don't really have much space to work with, this is just a leg of a couch, so I'm just gonna show you the beginning of it and then the end, and maybe some stuff in the middle, but I'm not gonna show you too much because, as I said, I don't have much to work with. I'm starting with the 40 feet roll just to get in the groove of it, and then I'll be going on to the, where's the other box? Hold on. Then I'll be going on to the 110 feet, the big boy. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, crumple it up into a ball, kind of like so, make it as tight as we can, and then just continue to wrap this 40 feet around it as tight as we can. Now you don't really have to go too tight, because that's what the hammer and hard object is for, but you know, it makes it easier if you know, get it nice and tight. So as it stopped from the last time, you can see this has gone down pretty far. I don't know how much is left, but this is the size. I don't know how much it was the last time you saw. When it gets this size, it is harder to smush down. So as I said, you don't really have to deal with it. I am, so the rest of it can be a little bit easier. But you know, it's a aluminum ball. While you're doing this, you need to be careful because you might get what's known as a 10 cut. Now what a 10 cut is like, basically think of a paper cut and then times it by 10, because it's a lot sharper and cut a lot deeper, and it hurts a lot. I've already got a couple, they can't really see it, but they hurt, so be careful. I don't know if I'm doing this correctly, because it looks pretty big, and the videos I saw, they did 285 feet, and I only have 150, so hopefully I'm doing it right. If not, whoops. Up, we got to the end. 40 feet. Yo, that's 40 feet of aluminum foil. Anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the rest of this over here, my 110 feet, and then I'm gonna put it on here. I'm not gonna record it because it's 110 feet, and this took like 10 minutes. So if anything happens, I will. Okay, so I got a nice hard surface to hammer this in. This is just a random piece of wood I found out back. This is my aluminum ball. I'm gonna add some more onto it before I hammer, but hammer. Just a decent amount of this tin foil, and you can see it's gotten considerably bigger. And one thing that you can do to keep it from falling apart, because it will start to, or it feels like it, is just whack it, you know, don't really hammer it, but whack it on your thing to get it nice and little compact. It might not look like a ball completely. I'm going to do a little bit more shaping with the tin foil. It won't look like a ball, but once you start hammering, it'll come out perfect. It's getting pretty big. I mean, it's about the size of my head, maybe just a little bit smaller, and I have a pretty big head. I still have that much to go, so
I'm high maintenance a little bit, but not in a negative way. I just like extremely.
That boy DJ.
it's already about the size as a small bowling ball and maybe a soccer ball. I haven't really played any of the sports in a while, but it's fairly decently sized. And let's about see how much we have left. Oh, I don't know if you can see that. But that's a fair amount. We're close to the bottom. Very close to the bottom. And I'll let you know when we reach it. I can say that this would be twice its size, maybe even more if I didn't compact it down, but I compact it down so it's easier to maneuver and roll around, because if you had a table to work on, which I don't, which I do, but it's covered and stuff, if you had a regular table to work on, you could just not do this, but I'm doing it for convenience sake, not for size sake. But just imagine this, but like out to here with tin foil. I was gonna do the same thing I did with last one, where I was like, oh, it's done, but turns out this one doesn't stick to the roll. Well, it's done. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Miss Keating, you can't get away from this ship content any faster unless you leave. Don't leave, please. Anyways, so this is all. I have it. I'm gonna compact it down a little bit more with some more smacking, and then once we get that done, I can't lift it because it's not compact. Put it here, and then camera time. Before I get started, I will say I'm not going to show too much of this process. You can find other videos with that in it. The reason being is that I don't have a lot of space because I record on my phone, so I don't have a lot of space. That and other projects I have half done or semi-completed on my phone, it takes up a lot of storage. But I will say most of it will be done with this rubber mallet, and then once I get down the finer, this hammer, and then I'll be getting some sandpaper from a drawer or two to file it down, but I'll let you know before I start doing that. One last thing before I really get into it is where I turn on the flashbacks again. Anyway, one last thing, it will crack like this all throughout this entire project. Don't worry about it, just hammer it in, and if it falls off, put it back on and hammer it in. That is just part of the process. That's just from the foil hardening from where it gets, you know, you see that's a little bit harder than aluminum foil. That's where it's getting compact, getting hard. Don't worry about it, just, you know, take your hammer to it and hammer it back down in, and as you can see, it starts to harden, starts to stick to it, you know, get it all nice, and we'll be fine. It has gotten considerably smaller. It's really dense. It's actually quite heavy. I would say at least 5 pounds maybe. Not, you know, I'm not struggling to lift it or anything. I can play around with it, but it's, you know, it's decent size, decent heft. I'm going to go for a really small ball because I want it to be able to fit in my hand. This can fit my hand, but I want it to be like nice and small. Probably not the diameter of this, but a little bit bigger than this. And so the problem with that is, I'm gonna hold this up, hold it up. I'm gonna hold it here. Hear that? That's the same sound as hitting this piece of wood. This is solid. This is pretty solid. See, it's not much of a ball, so I'm going to do my best with this rubber mallet and this, wherever my other hammer went, to get it as small as possible. You don't have to. You can just go do it like this. Most people like to get it small. Most people have better equipment than me and not a piece of wood on this, but do what you want. I'm gonna go a lot smaller than this. Moved out to my living room, and that's on to dampen the noise for family. But this is the density of it, and then here, it's almost the size of the mallet. Actually, just a little bit taller. I'm gonna try to get it down to about the size of a softball, maybe a baseball, if I can. Folding up a ball to hammering, it's been about an hour. I might go a little bit more tomorrow, but until then, that's my thing. I measured once and it was 11 centimeters, and I measured another time and it was 12. I don't know if it was just because there's a high spot or a low spot on it, but for now it's done. It's just a little bit bigger than an average mallet, a little bit. Yeah, a lot of time. It's really dense. It's decently heavy. Next is polishing. It's day 2 on the sandpaper. I don't know if this holder will be good for working on a thing. I might take it out, but I don't know what grit this is. I just know it's sandpaper. So hopefully it'll work. And this isn't necessarily the roundest ball that I've ever seen, but it should be good. Quite a bit since I started this project. It's been about 4 or 5 days. I just got really bored. I have ADHD, and so I can't really focus much. So this is as polished as I'm gonna get it right now. I might go a little bit more, but just to get this video out this year and to actually show off the thing. This is how shiny it is. I used, I don't know what grit this is, it might say on the back. I'm guessing it's 463D or 3M, whatever these is. Some grit that's specifically made for working on metal and not wood. And then this metal file right here. As you can see, I have a lot of filing, but as you can see from the last video, or the last bit, it is way shinier, and it's a lot smoother. There's still some like rough spots from where I missed, but it's where I'm proud of it. You know, I'm gonna try to polish it up once I get some better tools, but until then, it's done. Hope you enjoyed the video.